Hey there, Mike Robbins here, coming to you live for the first time in a little over 2 months. It's what's today? Thursday, the 2nd of September. I am back from a 2 month or so hiatus, having been recording new podcast episodes or sending out email newsletters or coming live here on social media, although I've still been working and posting a little bit. But I wanted to come on and talk about a couple of things. The importance of both surrendering and focusing on gratitude. So the last time I was on here live was June 30th, and the theme of that message that day was time for a break, because I really needed a break. A lot was going on in my life personally, with our family, with the business, some changes, some uncertainties, some difficulties, some real challenge, and I just needed to pull back from some things. And the last couple months have been a little bit slower and quieter, which has been nice. But I had this fantasy at the time in late June when I did that last social media live video and recorded a podcast episode that week, that I would take a couple months off, rest, rejuvenate a bit, come back, and by the beginning of September here, as we're getting close to Labor Day here in the US, it would be like, hey, life's moving back even more towards normal. More people are getting vaccinated and the numbers are going down and we're going to be turning the corner. And obviously that hasn't been the case with, the Delta variant and the spike in COVID numbers here in the US and around the world. And then a lot of other things going on. Natural disasters. We have fires here in California and floods on the East Coast, and the big storm down south, and things in Afghanistan and Haiti, and gosh, just so much going on politically with what's happening in Texas. And then kids are going back to school and people are fighting over masks and mask mandates and vaccination mandates, and I mean on and on and on. It's just continues to be a really tumultuous time. Challenging, stressful, scary for me and for a lot of people, I think. But what I've been reflecting on, I recorded a new podcast episode this week and sent out a email to my email newsletter list. If you're on that list, you got that. I've been really kind of meditating on surrender and gratitude. And if you're joining this live, either on Facebook or LinkedIn or even on YouTube, feel free to just chime in with a comment or a question, or let me know where you're at or how you're doing or what's going on. If you're watching the video of this after, you can do the same. I usually look back at the comments, but would love to, have a little bit of a dialogue or interaction here if you have thoughts or questions or feedback on this. But surrender is something that I've been actually focused on for quite some time. And in this past year, I usually pick a word for the year. At the beginning of the year when I'm making my goals and intentions, it could be love, it could be trust, it could be health, it could be, confidence. This year it was surrender. And it's definitely been put to the test. I thought 2020 was challenging, as many of us did. 2021 has been challenging in different ways for me, for sure. And I imagine that's true for you. But surrendering, the word surrender I used to think of as giving up or giving in or, quitting, being weak in some ways, but it's really not. Surrendering is about accepting things as they are, allowing things to be the way that they are. And it's something that I've struggled with for much of my life, personally and professionally. But the older I get, the more I see the value of it and the importance of it, being able to surrender and accept things as they are, not in a passive way, not in a resigned way or a cynical way, but really in a way of allowing things to be the way that they are. There's the great quote from Byron Katie that I use often. She says, when you argue with reality, you lose, but only 100% of the time. And, that's really true. So even here we are almost, 18 months into this pandemic, maybe even longer, depending on where you live in the world. And it continues to be challenging and uncertain. It continues to twist and turn in different ways that I don't think any of us anticipated. Sometimes, on Facebook, it shows, memories from a year ago, 5 years ago, whatever. And I'll look back at some of my posts, even from a year ago, 6 months into the pandemic, some of my thoughts and some of where I was at and thinking about where we might be. And even then, I had no awareness or understanding that this could continue on for another year. And even here we are 18 months in. I have no idea how long this is going to last or what's going to happen or where things are going to be. Another thought that I had a couple months ago when I took a break was that this fall would really be about returning back to the office and getting back to normal and kids going back to school. And while some of that is definitely happening, and I'm grateful that our girls are back in school, most of the companies that we work with who've had people working from home, those plans for people to go back to the office have really been paused and stalled and changed, and things are just kind of on hold as we wait to see what's going to happen and what's the safest, best thing to do. But I think as a metaphor for life, it's like so many things that happen that we end up dealing with are things that we weren't necessarily planning on or expecting, like a pandemic, like so many other things. And anyone dealing with fires or floods or storms or natural disasters knows that, power outages and different things. And again, surrendering doesn't mean we give up. Surrendering doesn't mean we quit. Surrendering means that we allow things to be as they are. We don't resist against them and fight against them and say they shouldn't be, they shouldn't be, they shouldn't be, but they are. So where can you surrender even more in your life? Where can I surrender? Where can we let things be as they are and continue to show up in each moment, present, open, available, ready to respond in whatever way we can, but not demanding that things be a certain way? That demand energy, which is something else I've been working on and looking at, is insatiable. It's never ending. So there's that piece. And then the other piece is, can we be grateful? Grateful, like really embracing the power of gratitude. Now, again, I did a video a few months back on toxic positivity. So I'm not talking about phony Pollyanna. Isn't it awesome? Isn't everything great? Like, no, things aren't great for most people I know right now. And that doesn't mean everything's terrible, but things might be going really well in your life. If so, bless you and kudos to you and enjoy that, celebrate that. Things could be going really, really terribly hard, challenging, awful, painful, difficult. And for most of us in life, it's somewhere in between, and it kind of ebbs and flows back and forth. But gratitude is a choice. Gratitude is one of the most powerful energies that we carry as human beings, because it's a generative energy. We can reactively be grateful for great things, but we can also be proactively grateful by looking for and noticing all the things there are to be grateful in life, the great fullness of life, as we could say. So right here, right now, in this moment, as I'm recording this video, it's 3:51 p.m. Pacific time on Thursday, the 2nd of September. What are you grateful for right now? What are you grateful for? I know I'm grateful for my health, my family, Michelle, my wife, Samantha and Rosie, our girls. I'm grateful for this technology that allows me to connect with you, even if I take a hiatus or a break from doing it. I'm grateful that we have all the technology that we do that allows us to still connect and communicate and engage with each other in the world, even though we're, separated in lots of ways. I'm grateful for the scientists and the people who are working to try to keep us safe and healthy as best as possible. I'm grateful for all the people who continue to do heroic work in places where there are, floods and fires and natural disasters. We had a fire here in Marin County yesterday, up in the hills in Lucas Valley, which is not far from where we live. And it was scary. And the air was filled with smoke, and text messages and tweets were going around of what was happening. And they got the fire contained and put out really quickly. And I was watching some of the helicopters fly over, and as they were dousing the flames and worried about what it might mean and what might happen. And we had some friends who had to evacuate, but just so grateful for the training and the courage and the skill of those firefighters, and so many people doing so many things. Look, I don't think any of us are playing with a full deck right now. It's a tough time for a lot of us. And I think it's important for us to have a lot of compassion for ourselves. And if we can choose to look at what we're grateful for, genuinely, not Pollyanna blowing smoke, pretending like things are fine and everything's awesome, but really looking for and finding the blessings and counting those. Such a simple but powerful practice for all of us. So thanks for watching this, either live or after the fact. I'm going to come on probably once a week moving forward. I'm going to do my podcast once a week. Again, if you're not subscribed to the podcast, check it out. It's called We're All in This Together. And I'm sending my email newsletter out weekly now. Again, you can find that on our website, mike-robbins.com. But thanks for following me here on social. Thanks for watching this video. Please feel free to leave a comment or a question or a suggestion for a future topic. And I look forward to connecting with you again. Be well.